Nikola Tesla, the forgotten genius. We're in 1856, and in Paris, a treaty is signed that ends the Crimean War. The first conflict in history covered by photographic journalists. It's the year a young and brilliant Sigmund Freud enters the limelight with his psychoanalysis. The same year, a tender creature is born in what is now Croatia, a baby that will become a man who, unbeknownst to him or to his fellow man, will become the anonymous and forgotten contributor to some of the most important technological advances in modern times, Nikola Tesla. His father was a minister in the Serbian Orthodox Church, and his mother was an illiterate but inventive woman. They both worked incessantly so that their second youngest of 5 children would have a good education. As a student in the Polytechnic Institute of Gaz in Austria, the young Nikola Tesla became addicted to gambling and lost his tuition fees. Ashamed, he faked his own suicide by jumping into the Mur River. Tesla never finished his studies or obtained a degree, but his professors would always recognize his brilliant mind and his enormous capacity for long and incredibly difficult uninterrupted work sessions. In the United States, Sir Thomas Alva Edison had invented the electric light bulb and had designed and built the first electrical power plant to produce and administer electricity to New York City residents. The electrical revolution had arrived. The electrical power plants based on Edison's patents multiplied and prospered around the world. In 1884, a young 28-year-old Tesla arrives in the United States and presents himself before Edison with a strong letter of recommendation. Dear Edison, I've known 2 great men in my life, and you are one of them. The other is this young man. An unfortunate truth that did not sit well with Thomas Edison's abounding ego. Of course, it didn't help that the first thing Tesla did was to classify Edison's electrical power plants as rubbish, and that he, Tesla, had a better, more economic, and more efficient design based on alternating currents instead of direct currents. But Edison wasn't about to change his DC power for AC power. He had already invested too much time and money and wanted to see some returns. In any case, Edison, who wasn't stupid, hired Tesla and in a few years was able to exploit his genius and steal all the patents the young Serbian prodigy developed. Until a prominent venture capitalist named Westinghouse gets interested in Tesla and his AC power plants and hires him away, thus starting what would be known as the War of the Currents. Edison's DC current needed huge installations and massive cables in order to distribute electricity. Also, a large part of the electricity was dissipated between power plant and power plant. The alternate current designed by Tesla allowed for a more efficient transport over huge distances using high-tension cables. It was also much cheaper. And because in this kind of war, punching below the belt is simply a thing of strategy, Edison created a perverse campaign against the benevolent Nikola, turning public opinion against his AC current. Topsy the elephant didn't live to tell the tale, but humanity gained a grand new invention: the electric chair! When the Niagara Falls Electric Company commissioned Westinghouse to develop their system of electrical distribution, the war was over. Tesla had won. Tesla went bankrupt a few times throughout his life while he was developing his greatest invention, a system to generate and send energy over enormous distances with no cables. The multimillionaire J.P. Morgan became interested in the project and financed the research, but Tesla wanted to generate and distribute free electricity for everyone.
What an idea!
Naturally, J.P. Morgan withdrew his funding. Tesla researched X-rays and their applications to the medical world. He designed a primitive radar. He built a remote-controlled boat that was operated by electromagnetic waves and designed a vertical lift airplane. He also invented fluorescent lighting and a device that transmitted sound without cables. A device that would end up being called the radio and which was patented by the Italian Guglielmo Marconi, who would later receive the Nobel Prize for his invention. Even though Tesla's authorship of the radio was eventually recognized, public opinion is still associated with Marconi as the father of the radio. Future will reveal the truth and will put each one of us in our place based on our achievements. The present is theirs, but the future, for which I have worked all my life, is mine. Completely alone and in abject poverty, Tesla ended his days in a small apartment in New York City, forgotten by all. A man of strange habits, he hated to shake anyone's hand and remained celibate all his life.
See you, sexy.
He died on the 7th of January, 1943. He was 87 years old. All of his research and paperwork was confiscated by the FBI. Tesla has a crater on the moon named after him. His pioneer investigation into wireless energy transmission is a field that to this day remains wide open.